Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the truth behind no contact. So before we get into the video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's get into this. So here's the truth behind no contact. And this is what we've seen with gentlemen that kind of come to our programs and say that they initiate this at first, but realized it really wasn't going to be any solution to the problem. And it just created more problems to begin with. Now, in order to understand what no contact is we're just basically going to go kind of over a brief definition. This is really a tactic that men and people in general use. Women use this too. You can think of it as kind of like the silent treatment and kind of like where it also stems from. This is basically a tactic that people use to give their spouse or any person in a relationship space, right? Now, a lot of people use this as a way to avoid certain issues, certain hard to talk about topics that they just don't want to kind of confront. Now, what this really does is it kind of creates this gap, and it allows a lot of resentment to boil underneath, a lot of just negativity to boil underneath the surface. And we're going to kind of go into why no contact really doesn't work and why I've never seen it successfully done. And it kind of creates just more problems than really what it's worth. So this time can really extend from days, weeks, or even months. And you just simply don't have any contact with your spouse. You barely text them. If not, you don't text them whatsoever. You don't talk to them on the phone. You don't send them, an email. You don't send them any funny videos on Instagram or anything like that. You have no contact whatsoever. Really, the premise comes from, right, at its core, it's just really to create distance, and it follows this mantra of absence makes the heart grow fonder. But that's not really good, because when you're in a relationship that's having issues, you need to make sure that you're constantly working on the relationship without any pressure, but you are working on your best version while your spouse is also working on her best version of herself. And you guys are actually coming together, making sure that you're working on the marriage and building up. I like to look at it as two individuals who are growing separately, but together at the same time, kind of like how rising tides raise all ships. Now, when you're not working on the relationship together, what really can happen is this can create fear of not being involved with your spouse. That's also the kind of the purpose of it. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, but also, they're also hoping that whether it's you initiating this or your spouse initiating this, that there's kind of like this fear of, what is the other person doing? What are they thinking about me? Are they not thinking about me? So it's kind of like this little game mechanic that's really going on. And really, it's to also get your spouse to think, kind of worry about you as well, on top of the fear. Kind of just having them really on the top of your mind. But what we've actually found is that when you kind of create this no contact, depending on how long it goes, because there is also a healthy way of not doing no contact, but having space, especially if, tempers and emotions are high. But really what this does is it allows you and your spouse to create a pattern of not needing each other, or creating a pattern of getting used to that distance. And then there's some deeper stuff that goes into there as well that we're going to get into. Now, the reason why no contact doesn't work, it really allows your spouse to be alone, thinking and reliving those negative thoughts in their mind. Now, you see, men and women, when they look at things of the past, they look at past events, they look at it completely differently. Men are very logical and chronological thinkers. I had a client that had an event that happened in his life that kind of affected his home. And I said, the way that you look at that event, the flooding, the way that you saw the house being flooded, you saw, hey, this valve went off, this pipe burst, water flood here. When women look at past events, and this is why women bring this up too, like when they bring up something in the past and they bring it to your attention. When women relive past events, they're reliving it on an emotional level. They're not just reliving it on a chronological, this is what happened, this is what happened, and this is what happened. Really what they're doing is they're reliving those emotions, mind, body, and spirit all at once, as if they were just transported back there in the first place. Now, the reason why that's important, right, is because when it comes to this no contact period, something that happens is women, when they're looking towards what they're projecting, how things are going to go, if things are ever going to get fixed, well, they're using those past kind of memories as kind of like tally marks, or like a memory bank of, hey, this is what happened in the past. This is probably what's going to happen in the future. And so when you allow her to relive all of those negative memories without healing from it, shifting from it, and then growing together, really bonding from it, what's really going to happen is she's just going to sit and things are going to be negative, and she's not going to be able to process through them with you. And that's the whole point, is to get you guys working on that relationship. Now, this also kind of goes into something a little bit deeper. It reinforces that you don't really care about the relationship. A lot of issues that we see, especially when women get to the point of bringing up divorce, bringing up separation, is also bringing it to their husband as trying to see them make an everlasting change. And really what's happening is your wife is bringing you skepticism of what the future is going to look like based on past events. So at the core, if you do this no contact, what you're really saying is, hey, I don't care about, changing the past. I'm giving you space, but it doesn't ever really work. And we'll kind of see what goes from there, right? When really your wife is coming to you and saying, I have this massive distrust and this massive skepticism, and I would like to work this through with you. Now, emotions fly, and I know people say all types of different things, but, when it comes to no contact, you don't want to gamify it. Now, there are core reasons. There's multiple stages at where kind of the bleeding in the relationship happens. Now, we're just going to talk about the main one for the no contact. One of the core reasons that really affects you and your wife during this whole process, no contact, is your wife's not feeling secure in the relationship. Now, women have a base evolutionary need. Men have base evolutionary needs. But one of women's base evolutionary needs, right, is security. And no contact threatens that security within the relationship. You can really see that if you initiate no contact or bring up that you want some space, and then your wife completely flips script and she packs her bags and leaves. We've seen that happen with clients. And when it comes to that point, it's because if you trace it all the way back, you go back to where the bleeding first began, and then you kind of draw it to the point of where you're at. And that moment where she left after you try to initiate this separation or no contact or some space, you were really threatening that deeper sense of security that she once held within the relationship. And, another reason is at the base end of it, because of that security being threatened, women can also see this as you playing a game. And that's not what we're trying to do here. Now, what you can do instead is you can do what I call creating intent-filled space. That way, there isn't this distance in between you guys with nothing there. There's intent as to why it happened, so you both can process things and know that you can come back and really talk to each other and have that space filled when you need or want it. So this can look like, hey, I can tell that you're feeling a little overwhelmed. I completely understand. I'm also feeling really overwhelmed by this whole situation, or I'm also feeling like, we kind of need to take a little space from each other. And you can say like, hey, I can tell that you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I can tell that you're kind of getting a little distant. You're getting a little more angry, something like that, right? You want to fill in that XYZ space. I completely understand. And I'm feeling pretty mad at this whole situation. And I'm trying to work on my anger issues. So I'm going to take some time and work on, or whatever you genuinely, truly want to work on yourself. And when you're ready, you can let me know. It's totally fine, totally open to it. But if I'm not ready to talk, I'll let you know. But I'd love for you to be there or come to me when you are ready. And hopefully I am too. I just feel like this is going to be really important for me to work on so I can be a better man, a better husband, so on and so forth. And I would love for you to come along and improve with me on whatever. It could be fitness, it could be anger issues, it could be opening up, it could be whatever. But it has to be something genuine that you are really trying to work on. Because what this does is it does three main things. It acknowledges, it validates, and it takes the pressure off by having the situation focus solely on yourself. Because remember, when a plane is going down, you need to put on your own mask before you put on someone else's mask, right? And so when you say that you're going to be working on this, and that when you're ready, or like, you know, your wife is ready, you would love for her to come to you. And then if you're ready, you'll talk to her. What that really does is it's letting her know, hey, there's no like external reason that's beyond what I'm about to tell you of me improving myself. This is why I'm doing this, to improve myself. It's not because I'm trying to do no contact. It's not, you know, I'm not trying to play games, but this is something that I genuinely want to do, not only for myself, but to really make sure that I'm the best version for you, the kids, so on and so forth. So that's what you do instead of no contact. That's what no contact is. And that's why no contact at the end of the day, it really doesn't work. It's not helping the relationship at all. And so in order to really make sure that you're growing in your relationship, even when it's having struggles, even when it's going through a tumultuous time and things seem hopeless, remember there's always hope. And you want to make sure that you are the best version of yourself so that you can lead your relationship and how it needs to be. So if you guys found any useful information in this video, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you would like to know a little bit more in depth about what we do over here at The Heroic Husband, you can always find us on Facebook, or you can go to the link in the description and you can get our book and really understand what goes into our whole Heroic Husband method and our 3-step ELM method as well. You guys have a good one. Bye.